Hello and welcome to Earnie Jay Media. This is the Earnie Jay Rant, and I'm Earnie Jay, Ernest Johnson Jr. And this is brought to you by My Daily Choice, CBD infused products, the best in the world, really. You can go to mydailychoice.com/EARNIEJAY. That's mydailychoice.com/EARN as in Nancy, IEJAY, and check out the products and become an affiliate. It costs you nothing to try it. And of course, you can become an affiliate free account. I'll set it up. All you do is just go there and you want to be an affiliate or at least look at the business. Fill in the information. When it asks for payment, just put Bitcoin in there, so therefore you don't have to worry about any credit card information and using any payment or anything like that. And you can peruse through the site. It's mydailychoice.com/EARNIEJAY. My Daily Choice. Now, I talked about the minimum wage the last time I did a video. Now I'm going to talk about police and black people, us people of color. Now, we got a lot of forces working against us. We have the non-melanated non-believers on this side. We have law enforcement over here. We have the political pressures over here. And then over here we have our own people who even do things to us. So we're squeezed like an orange. And you know, an orange only has so much juice. Well, before I run out of juice, I plan on using it. Now, I'm kind of getting into the fray. First of all, I'm not an activist. I'm not a politician. I am not an influencer, as they call them today. I am none of those people. I am not highly college educated. I am just an average Joe, using average words and average thinking. I call it common sense. Okay? And a lot of us don't use it. You know, we either go above it or below it. We don't hit it right in the middle. You know, I'm a Libra, so I believe in balancing the scales. Okay? And I do believe in balance. That's my thing. Balance. And there's always two sides to every story. And I'm willing to listen to both. I mean, just like a lawyer, you know. You listen to both sides, or judge or jury or whatever. Now, speaking of law, law certainly, you know, on our side, you know. I mean, listen, we get in trouble for anything. We got a lot of Kens and Karens out there just spouting off and so forth, you know, and telling us we need to go back to where I'm a fifth generation American. I'm probably more American than most of those people that's telling you to go back. They should go back. If anybody goes back, I mean, our ancestors toiled a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the soil of this very country. And therefore, we built this sucker for free. We ain't going nowhere. We built it. All right? We built it like it's ours. And now it's time for us to claim what's ours. I believe in being pro-black. And being pro-black does not mean that you're racist. It just means that you're into your culture and so forth. Now, we have an issue. We have the George Floyd trial going on. And we see all this mounting evidence. And I still feel as though that this man, all he needs is one juror. Hang it up, and it's a hung jury. And that's that. You know, that's all they need. And, you know, that's really unfair. Because in public opinion, I mean, you can just see everything with your own eyes and everything else. But, you know, after the Rodney King thing, and when statewide they said that those officers were not guilty, I was like, what the heck is open season on black men? That was the first thing that came to my mind. Well, it's open season on all of us. And, you know, I mean, police are killing us. You know, 1,021 people of color were killed last year by police. 1,021. Now we got a lot this year so far. And we almost have one in Windsor, Virginia, with Lieutenant Caron Nazario, who was at least smart enough to drive to a lit area, a well-lit area, so therefore he wouldn't be a casualty. Him being a military man, he probably thought that way, and good thinking. I mean, it's... and he was dressed in full military. A lieutenant just picked up his new vehicle and can't even get home safely, get pepper sprayed and get thrown to the ground, etc. At gunpoint. And this happened in December. It's now April the 12th, 2021. This happened in December. What happened in those months between? We just now seen the video. At least I just seen the video last weekend on TikTok. That was when I first seen the video. I was like, is this real? And I had to look at it a couple times and at least Google it, and yes, it was real. So that was almost a tragedy. Think about that. And all because of one thing. This right here. I'm no threat to nobody. I'm only 5'9". I weigh about 200 pounds, a little overweight there, but I weigh about 200 pounds, and I'm no threat to nobody. I mean, I have kind of a dead leg. I can't run. But see, their biggest thing is no resistance. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. So they heighten the situation to give them excuse to do whatever they're doing, and that really works against us. I mean, we're told when we get pulled over by the cops, put our hands at the 10-2 position and keep them hands where they can see them, and until they tell you, put your wallet or whatever. So, we always hear from one side, well, they're not listening to all the commands. Well, yes, we are. Yes, we are. They're heightening the situation to make you think that we're not listening. But we're listening. I mean, I've been pulled over twice. I've been accosted. I've been pulled over twice. Somebody smelled beer on me. Thought that I was drinking that night. Thought I was drunk driving. I had my faculties well in place. And next thing I know, there's 7 cruisers around me. I'm like, damn. Ain't that some bleep? So, yeah, he did the smart thing. Dante Wright. Now, we're already in Minnesota over the George Floyd case. That's right. And now, Dante Wright, 20-year-old young man, shot, single bullet, by an officer who thought she had a taser in her hand. What kind of shiggity is that? You accidental shooting? If you don't know the difference between a taser and your gun, well, you should not even be a cop. As a matter of fact, these cops should not be cops when they say they feared for their life. Well, wait a minute. You're armed and I'm unarmed. How you fear for your life? I'm fearing for my life. Don't get it twisted. But, these are the things that we're up against. Listen, we lose our life for selling Lucy's. Lose our life for selling CDs. A kid playing with a toy gun in a park. Failed to put a signal light on. I mean, we got air fresheners in the car. Really? I mean, we got a lot of Kens and Karens that's calling police on us for jack. Nothing. What do they have against us? What did we do to them? We're the ones being dogged out. Let's face it. We're the ones that's being dogged out, flat out. But we're not the ones that dominate the bottom of that food chain either. We're not the ones who dominate the bottom of that food chain. We have quite a few of us, but we don't dominate it. No siree. But they let everybody think that we dominate the bottom of that food chain. Now, I know that no matter how high we get on that food chain, as it just showed you this past weekend with the lieutenant, no matter how high we get on the food chain, no matter how high a black person get on the food chain, somebody is going to remind them that they are a black person, that they are second class. Ain't that some bleep? Okay? I mean, all we want is equality. We entertain these people. We put culture into this country. We do a lot of things for this country, but this country ain't doing it back to us. So it's time for us to take what's ours. I don't mean go out there and take it physically or anything like that. It has to be systematically. We have to do something about it. And the first thing we do is you organize the situation. And then you put that organization into motion. So through the voting, because voting is going to be key. We showed up in the last election and showed out in a pandemic. And now they're squeezing us even more. We have overcome so much. We come from ancestors who built geometrically pyramids. Okay? Civilization. I mean, we come from that. We can take chitlins and make it into a delicacy. We have that type of thinking. And now with our young people who are growing and getting more educated and learning about more things, our history and everything else, they understand it better than we do because I learned it at the same time my daughter learned it. My daughter's 35 years old now, mother of two. So, you know, things that I didn't know at 35 or was just learning. But she knows a lot more. Therefore, my grandchildren will know a lot more. And I'm a 5th generation American, so she's a 6th and my grandchildren are 7th. And that means that we are deeply embedded and rooted into this country. This may not be the best country, but it may be the best country for us. Once we settle things and get things straight, but we got to settle ourselves first. We got to come together as a collective people first. And as long as we're like this, ain't going to happen. So that orange that I told you we're getting squeezed in 4 different areas. Well, at least one of those areas need to be free first. And that's this side where we're doing it to each other. Because we got these other forces to deal with. I don't want to have to deal with that. And we should be together and we can deal with the other 3 because we are the global majority. We are. We really are if you think about it. So, you know, being pro-black don't mean that you are prejudiced or racist. Okay? Being pro-black, and so I believe in being pro-black. I mean, I wish I had this consciousness many, many years ago. And so I'm sitting here doing a video, and like I said, I do voice work. God gave me this voice to do something with it. And voice work is my monetary thing, but it may not be my exact calling, but it may be the gateway to my exact calling. Just like I wrote a poem. I don't write poetry. I don't think poetically. I can't say that because, you know, I did do Quiet Storm and radio and some of the things that come out of my mouth because I'm an off-the-cuff dude. I'm that dude. You know, so maybe I think poetically in a love sense. Okay? But this past February, my wife and I were sitting watching a program on PBS. And in this scene, well, she was watching it. And I decided to sit down and watch a little bit with her, but I was in my sports mode. Because I'm a sports nut. And so in this scene, they had this mother and daughter, black woman and her daughter, who was about 8 years old, walking down a trail after her mother finished picking cotton. And the slave master, or maybe it's the slave master's son, I'm not totally sure, rides up in a coach with a lady. And the lady thought that the girl was cute and said she wanted her. And he said, if you want her, you can have her. And just gave her away, and I just couldn't watch anymore. I was like, oh, it disturbed me. It disturbed me because all the things that we've gone through, and they just call us a racist. So I left the living room, came into my room where I'm at right now, in front of my computer, and I was like, you know what? They call us a racist. Ain't that something? And my fingers started going, and I entitled this poem, "And You Call Me a Racist." So my fingers started going, and all of a sudden I was like, wow, I never did that before. Maybe that struck a nerve. I mean, during this pandemic, we're finding out some things about ourselves that we really didn't, because we never slowed down. We never really dug into ourselves. Oh, we knew what we wanted to do, but we always rip and ran and so forth. But that's what I started thinking. And, I started thinking about, some of the things that I went through. I mean, I come from the Northeast, so I didn't go through a lot of things that a lot of people in the South went through. I didn't experience Jim Crow or anything. I'm now in Texas, so I'm experiencing some, how things are in a Republican-led state. And, I'm seeing, we've seen the evil that people can cast upon people, and how they can just make you hate each other. And that's what I'm seeing. And, we got to love each other. We got to do things together. We really do. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. I mean, what has happened in the past, it's just terrible. It really is. It really is. And they still continue to do that, until we change the paradigm, which means until we change in the political arena what's happening, we're going to be picked on like this for a very, very long time. And I don't want my grandchildren to be picked on like I'm being picked on. I don't even want my daughter to be picked on like I'm being picked on, even though we're experiencing something that I've never experienced before. I've in terms of the pandemic and everything that's coming out of it. I mean, listen, Black Lives Matter. And they matter for a reason. You love to see us entertain you. Look at football. Look at basketball. Okay? Those two main money-driving sports. Baseball is up there, but we don't dominate that sport. We did, as you can see, I have on my Major League Baseball. That's black baseball. Thank you, Major League, for putting them in as a league this year. But anyways, my mind started thinking, so your mind has probably started thinking. You probably started to think, how can I, make this beneficial for me down the road? And all of a sudden you start doing something. Well, the same thing happened to me. I get into my voice thing and this poem. And so I did post it on my social media, on my Facebook and on my Instagram, and on my Twitter. And some people said, well, and that's only because some people some of my close friends said, you should post that. It's pretty nice. I'm not going to say it's the best thing. It's a poem, and it's just the way I felt that night. I wrote this poem on February 4th, 2021. Because we have a lot of racism going on, but it's not us. It's others who's saying it's us. We're not. Our crime apparently is just being black. That's it. I haven't committed no crimes. Most of us haven't committed no crimes. We're not criminals. So, but we're called the racists. They set up systems for us to fail, but we learn how to break through them. We're going to break through more of them. And so I call this Custard's last stand because, let's face it, the country is getting browner. You ain't stopping it. Genie's out the bottle. Too late. So, that's why these, the George Floyd thing, which is a slam dunk case, should be, but I won't be surprised if it's not. And I think that this country will rip itself apart if the George Floyd case goes the wrong way. If justice is not served, if one juror is hung, what would be the reason? Because following the case, a lot of that stuff, it's kind of a slam dunk. Where does the defense go? But anyway, I wrote this poem. It's called, "And You Call Me a Racist." You took my ancestors away from our land, and you call me a racist. You brought us to a foreign land in the hulls of ships, chained, and you call me a racist. You robbed us of our culture, history, and language, and you call me a racist? You beat our men, raped our women, and stole our children, and you call me a racist? You forced us into slave labor, building a land from which you stole from the red man, and you call me a racist? On our backs of that free labor, you became an economic superpower, and you call me a racist? You whipped my ancestors, hung them from trees like a spectator sport, and you call me a racist? You called me boy, coon, nigger, and you call me a racist? You, out of envy, bombed our cities and churches, and you called me a racist? We couldn't participate in the political process, eat at the same lunch counters, go to the same schools, drink from the same water fountains, or use the same bathrooms, and you call me a racist? You vilified and imprisoned our leaders, and you call me a racist? Recently, you have witnessed us being beaten, choked out, and shot in plain view with no circumstances at all, and you call me a racist? All of the aforementioned and more we had to overcome after 400 plus years. We are still overcoming obstacles to this day. and you still call me a racist. Why? By Ernest Johnson Jr. That's me, on February 4th, 2021 of this year. I hope I did it some justice by reading, but if you hear the words, you understand what I'm saying there. So, I just want to share that with you. And you know, I always like to leave on a good note, or at least have you thinking good thoughts. And so, I want to say kudos to a couple of things that I came across in the recent past, like the Miami-Dade commissioners who have decided to name a street after Trayvon Martin, and his name and image, which we know are recognized around the world and associated with the fight for social justice. So this is why the Miami-Dade commissioners decided to memorialize him by naming the drive to the school after Trayvon Martin. Also got to say kudos to McDonald's USA. Through its Black and Positively Golden Moment, they're excited to announce, or they have announced, the expansion of its long-standing efforts to support students and alumni of HBCUs, and building on the recently announced $500,000 Black and Positively Golden HBCU Scholarship Fund. The company and its owners-operators have partnered with Essence, Girls United, the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, and iHeartMedia to help the next generation of leaders take steps to own tomorrow. And also, businesswoman Melody Hobson, kudos to her, because she is known for making power moves in corporate America, and her latest accomplishment will be breaking barriers at her alma mater. Princeton University will rename one of its residential colleges after Hobson, and the honor is historic, as it marks the first time in the Ivy League institution's 256-year existence that a residential college has been named after a Black woman. So congratulations to her. And also congratulations to actress Taraji P. Henson, where she has furthered her efforts to spread awareness about the importance of mental health. And she has launched a new talk show centered on mental wellness. And it's shown on Facebook Watch, and it's dubbed Peace of Mind with Taraji. So kudos to Taraji. And kudos to all of you who are doing good things. I would like to do more than what I am doing for us and be more of a positive, I guess you can say a positive influence to a degree. And I would like that. I'd like to do that. But until then, until the next time, remember these kind words, that God gives you 86,400 seconds in a day. Make sure you use one of them to say thank you. And those are words from the wise. Got a little tongue-tied there. But until the next time we meet up again, you all take care and love one another. And ciao. Peace.